Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina. Thank you so much for watching. Today we're going to be talking about my reading style and the reason that I am the way I am about certain books and just my emotions, so you guys can get a better idea on my book reviews and why I review them the way that I do based on my specific preferences. My reading preference is really romance, adventure with maybe a hint of a magical element, so I would say fantasy as well is included in that. I do enjoy any kind of immortal experience. I love like gods, angels, mermaids, any fantasy really. I just love a little bit of that magical element. I think it makes it fun. It kind of puts a twist on a story and it gets me really excited. So I do love adventure as well. It doesn't have to be immortal, but I do enjoy books like that. I do enjoy also a little bit of a romantic hint. Nothing too overwhelming. For example, I'm not into 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that. I don't like a story or a plot based around romance, but I do enjoy incorporating romance into an already wonderful adventure story or whatever the situation is. I need something that is fast-paced, but in terms of the romance, I don't like it to be fast-paced. I think anything where it's like just a few days in or two characters just met each other and they're like, I love him, or like, I'm falling for him, like, I think it's too quick, especially when you don't know anything about the characters or about their backgrounds, or they haven't really spent enough time with each other to really know anything or know any better. I think it's just unrealistic and it doesn't get me excited at all. I'm just like, okay, like what the heck? Yeah, so I don't like the love to be fast-paced. Plus, it takes away the fun of suspense. I love suspense. I love any kind of just like intensity building up, and it just makes the ending that much better. So I absolutely need some kind of suspense, not just with a love relationship, but really with any kind of relationship. I don't like just like a problem and then resolving it immediately and then just like going on to the next problem. I like kind of like that combination and then that just satisfaction of them being resolved one by one towards the end. That kind of ties into my need for good character development. Characters, in my opinion, really need to have a start or a problem or a situation, and they need to grow through it into a better person where they're not making the same mistakes or thinking the same thoughts, but they're becoming stronger, becoming more courageous, becoming more brave, becoming less clumsy, whatever the situation is. I feel that when characters are not developed properly, I get very bored. It's very stagnant. Like, okay, they're making the same mistake twice now, 4 times now, whatever it is. I'm like, when is the juiciness coming? Like, when is the character going to develop into that person that I know they can be? So in order for me to be intrigued, I have to see some kind of character development. These characters need to meet my expectations. Absolutely. The entire book needs to meet my expectations, but the characters especially. They have to be developed emotionally, but they also have to be realistic and relatable and something that I can sit here and put myself in their situation and be like, okay, I see, like, and I can feel that, and I can relate and understand. And it's important for me because if that character is not relatable, I'm not going to be interested at all. They need to feel human. They can't just feel completely surreal, completely perfect. They also need to have really good descriptions. If there's too much room left for my imagination, I get very, very bored. And I kind of am like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but I'm gonna try and fill in the gaps in my own way, in my head. Like, if I don't know what a character looks like, I'm gonna try and make up what they look like. But then later on, it's very frustrating if the author writes something about the character that they didn't introduce in the beginning. And then when I have that time where I'm really developing what I think that character looks or feels like, or how animated they are, or whatever the situation is, and there's something that's completely opposite to what I've been thinking this entire time, it frustrates me, and my imagination gets jumbled up, and I feel like I'm not able to really dive completely into that book or into that character and be completely present with the story because I can't imagine what's going on or what that character looks like. So it's really important that I know, you know, if a character is tall, if they're short, if they're clumsy, if they're, you know, heavy, if they're skinny, because it also gives you a lot of background on where they have come from, and really a lot more about that character. And when you can integrate those emotions and those feelings and those situational things into the appearance of the character, it gives you a lot of, you know, perspective on what they've gone through, what they are going through, or whatever it might be. So that's very important for me, and just for my imagination too. Like I just want to know. Like, just give me the juicy deets, you know? And when I'm reading, I definitely need a good sense of time with these characters and just what they're going through. If I feel things are too fast-paced, I've used this word a lot, but it's overwhelming. And I don't really know what's happening, and I just kind of am like, wait, weren't you just here doing this? And then how did you get there? The transitions need to be very accurate and seamless for me to not really notice any fast-paced time changes, if there are any. But for me, I do need time for the characters to really develop. If any of the relationships or any of what they're going through is really slow, I get bored. But it can't be too fast where I'm like, wait, how did that happen? So like I've said before, timing is super, super important. And the first chapters, they have to intrigue me. I need to get a sense of what's going on, that call to action for the characters, just so I can know, okay, like, what's the problem? Because when you're just kind of beating around the bush and not really giving me enough backstory or anything that really contributes to what's gonna be the problem later on, it feels like fluff. I don't want too much fluff. I want enough where I feel like I'm not so serious all the time. I don't know if that makes sense, but I need, you know, some substance. I need the details. I need the juiciness. I need it to keep propelling me towards, you know, whatever the next book might be or whatever the next series might be. I am absolutely a series girl. I do not like books that are too long. One pro of my Kindle Oasis is it tells me how long it'll take for me to read based on how fast I read. I don't like books that are over 7 hours. I think 7 hours is kind of pushing it. It's just not, it's too slow for me. I kind of get like anxious waiting to be like, okay, let's get to the next book. And I like watching that time go down, and I'm like, oh, I only have an hour left in the book. I'm just gonna keep reading to finish it. So that's one pro. If you have any questions, I don't know if I've already said this. I don't know. I've filmed this video like 3 times, but I'll put it here if you're wondering for the pros and cons of the Kindle Oasis. When the author is writing, I personally really need words that are challenging, something that is a new vocabulary, new words, new diction, just for me to kind of get a grasp on. I don't want to feel like I'm reading at a 5th grade level, but I also don't want to feel like I'm reading a book from the 1800s. If I have to sit there and just speculate and scrutinize every single word and go through it, I'm going to get very frustrated, and that's going to keep me from continuing the book and really also being able to relate to the characters. So it is so important for me that I do have challenging diction and just making sure it's not too complex. If anything that's being described is too complex, usually I'll just skip over that paragraph or that page, and then I get frustrated with myself because I don't know what just happened, and then I'll try and read it again, and then I still don't understand it, and then I'll try and read more before it to get more context, and when I still don't understand it, I am absolutely frustrated. I just want to put the book away. I don't want to read anymore. I'm like, okay, this is too much. The author doesn't have a really good way of describing what's going on. I'm very lost. I'm just gonna set it down. Maybe I'll never pick it up again. Sometimes, most of the time though, I'll just get through it and I'll be like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna keep reading without knowing what just happened, and sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not, but it's important for the author to really describe, you know, what's going on. And it's also very important to me for the author to make sure that there are no crazy grammatical errors. I see them. I absolutely see them. I highlight them. I don't forget them. For me, I think it personally ruins an author's credibility. It is really hard for me to want to continue to read any books written by that author simply because I know that they haven't, you know, checked on their grammar in any of their books. I mean, if you're writing a book, you should be having people proofread, you should be making edits, you should go line by line through that book. It's a lot of work. But if you're paying attention to your grammar, then I know you're paying attention to your storyline too, and I know that makes you an even better writer. And it is very important for me. My mom was an English major, and so she was very, very, very hard on my brother and I about articulation and grammar and English and just being proper. So it's important to keep your credibility that way. So for an author to not, you know, to have grammatical errors, it irritates the heck out of me. So very, very, very important. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's really it. I am so excited to start doing some reviews for you guys and just sharing some books. I'm rereading a book right now. I'm actually about to start rereading a book to share with you because I love that book so much, and I think you guys are going to really love that too. Just kind of invite you to indulge into something completely new. If you have any books that you really love, I am absolutely open. I like mystery somewhat. I like Agatha Christie, but personally I don't go out of my way to read any of her books anymore. I'm not really into horror. Thriller I can get into maybe, but I'm open to any kind of new books or whatever it might be. So if you have anything that you are interested in sharing with me, I would absolutely love to look into it and possibly review it on my channel for you and for other people. And I am so excited to get the ball rolling and to start to review really amazing books for you. So please don't hesitate to like or subscribe or even comment down below just some of your favorite books. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my channel. My name is Stina, and I'll see you in my first review. Bye.